WWE 2K Battlegrounds is the de facto make-good for the absolute abomination that was WWE 2K20. It's a love letter to the extremely popular WWE All-Stars, a window into what could be for the eventual 2K22. But in some ways, it's nothing more than a coat of paint over a disappointingly shallow experience. Is it worth your money? Let's find out. "2K Battlegrounds" is the newest game in the 2K exclusive WWE video game franchise. Developed by Saber Interactive, makers of the cult hit NBA Playground series, Battlegrounds is available on all current-gen platforms, including Google Stadia, if you can imagine that. What you're seeing is launch day footage on PS4. Immediately upon launch, the game makes it clear to you exactly what you're going to be playing. The exaggerated characters, the hype rock music, and the hyper-colorful menu introduces you to the attitude of the game. And make no mistake, it takes that attitude in everything. From wrestlers entering matches by dropping through crates from the sky, to the absolutely outrageous, if not extremely detailed, character creator, the game makes it clear from the off you are about to play a 5-year-old's fantasy of what wrestling is really like. And I have to say, in that, it succeeds. If you've ever played All-Stars, this will immediately feel familiar to you. Every wrestler fits into one of 4 fighting styles: high flyer, brawler, technician, or all around. Each different style comes with different perks and abilities. High flyers can dive over the top rope and springboard all over the place, while brawlers can pick up the ring posts and swing them around like baseball bats. Each fighting style also has different unique abilities you can access by holding the left trigger or left bumper. This is where you'll find the more outrageous striking and grappling moves, like superpowered knees to the face or a massive brainbuster. You can do a basic grapple with X or use the right stick to perform more devastating carry maneuvers. Reversals are performed one of 2 ways. You can either use the right bumper to block striking attacks, get the timing just right to parry and stagger your opponent, or you perform a timing minigame with one of the 4 face buttons to reverse grapples and throws. Succeeding in one of these reversals results in an actual move delivered to your opponent, and it's incredibly satisfying. The animations for every move, from strikes to reversals, are suitably over the top and absolutely brutal in a kind of Tom and Jerry cartoonish kind of way. And all of it pales in comparison to the hilarious finishing maneuvers, which you can perform by hitting both the triggers simultaneously. They can be anything from Kofi Kingston performing a triple backflip boom drop, to Stone Cold Steve Austin jumping 10 feet in the air to drop his opponent with a giant stunner. There's nothing more satisfying than watching your opponent or yourself be lifted up 7 stories by AJ Styles, only to be dropped straight on your face and then kicking out at 1. And this is where the game truly shines. Turn off your brain and just watch the carnage unfold. Every arena or battleground is unique, with a different color palette, different fans, and different interactive objects. Set your opponent on fire, drop a car on them, throw them into an alligator. If you can imagine it, you can do it. Want to strum a guitar before bashing it over your opponent's head like Jeff Jarrett? You can. Would you like to slam your opponents into the mat so many times the ring collapses like Brock Lesnar in The Big Show? You can do that too. The roster is huge, and every wrestler has alternate attires, even if some of them are really just different paint jobs. And there's even modes to create your own wrestler and your own arena, where you can customize your own interactable objects. The online is also a strong point. King of the Battlegrounds mode is fast and fun as hell. The goal is to be the last man standing in essentially kind of a Royal Rumble format. The minigame to toss your opponents over the top rope seems fair, as it gets harder and harder to win the longer you're in. Matchmaking with friends is easy, as it's done from the same screen as the Play Now against the CPU or local co-op. And playing with your friends is the way to go here. The AI isn't bad. It gave me significant challenge on the harder difficulties, but it does feel a bit cheap as you raise its level. Online features the same exact gameplay with nothing stripped away. You can do all the same modes except for Royal Rumble, which is a shame, and it's so incredibly fun to see 3 or 4 sentient people doing all of these crazy moves in the ring. One significant critique though: in multi-man matches, the wrestlers don't stay down for nearly long enough, meaning an actual finishing move can rarely ever finish a match, as by the time the animation is done, the other wrestlers basically gotten to their feet. Basically every multi-man match I played saw the finish come after 10 to 15 minutes of play, and someone just hits a basic move on both the other guys and pins that way. I would appreciate some adaptation of the mainline 2K series when it comes to dealing with downtime for wrestlers, as even the most carefully planned spots can't get the job done as it stands. But that's really the most significant issue I have with online play though. As in my experience, the servers were mostly stable and lag was minimal. I only ever noticed it on one round of King of the Battleground. Bottom line, from the gameplay to the menus to the comic book inspired story mode, the game plays best when you hop on, turn your brain off, and just enjoy the scenery. However, when you turn your brain back on, that's when you start to notice some of the shortcomings. I mentioned the roster is huge and each wrestler comes with several alternate attires, which is a fantastic touch that I hope continues to feature in 2K's future installments. But more than half of the roster and all of the alternate attires have to be unlocked by either in-game bucks or premium currency. Now I'll get to the value assessment of this game at the end of the review, but something doesn't sit right with me about putting so much of this game's core assets, being the wrestlers, behind a pay or grind wall. Now the game is not chintzy with the currency. You can earn a few $100 from every match you play, not to mention a lot from leveling up, completing daily challenges, and progressing through the story mode. But I can't shake the feeling that the game fully intends for you not to be able to unlock everything without slapping down a few real bucks. The story mode is fun and the comic book style is unique, but I wish they had done some actual voice acting to go along with it, as it just feels like I'm reading cutscenes before playing more matches. The character creator is woefully shallow, with very few pieces to unlock and very few options, though the options that are present are unique and they got a chuckle out of me. The big issue really with created wrestlers is there's no way to fully customize their moveset, skills, and abilities from the off. You have to go through this entire grindy gauntlet of various matches to unlock all the things you want. Now this is fun for the first created wrestler you make, but the whole process is absolutely impractical if you wanted to add in wrestlers that aren't in the game by default, which is a hallmark of the mainline series. My biggest critique, however, is in the gameplay. The most fun you have with any wrestler is in your first match with them. But as I said before, once you turn your brain back on, you begin to realize how shallow the gameplay truly is. Each wrestler has about a dozen moves in total, and many of them are class specific, meaning Kofi Kingston and Rey Mysterio perform most of the same moves because they share a class. While playing with friends, someone that we were playing with was using Steve Austin, and after the 5th running headbutt in a row, he asked audibly if that was the only move Austin had. There is no true way to perform complicated striking combos. Pressing square or triangle 3 times successively will do a combo and ends with a pretty satisfying power move, but trying to deviate from that will break the streak. There's no way to change the movesets of the wrestlers, so what you're left with is every wrestler in a particular class basically feels the same. And when you're playing online, where the matches could take 10 to 15 minutes or more, you end up seeing the same 3 moves over and over and over again. The whole thing starts to become repetitive, and it feels like there isn't a way to truly outsmart your opponents. The targeting is also very lackluster, only picking up my actions about half the time, leaving me kicking air while I'm trying to switch onto the guy standing right next to me. And all of this makes for a gameplay experience that is in equal parts random feeling and one-dimensional as it is over the top and enjoyable. Now, with all that being said, I made this video to answer one question. Should you buy this game? There's so much to like here. The unique style, the over-the-top gameplay, the colorful graphics. It put a smile on my face right as I loaded it up, and in every game I played, there were moments that made me laugh out loud or cheer with joy. But the drawbacks are there for all to see. It's a shallow game with questionable microtransactions and one-dimensional gameplay. If this game were $100 for the deluxe edition like 2K20, this would be one of the worst games of the year and would put the nail in the coffin of 2K's WWE license. But it's not. This game is $50 for the deluxe version. And I gotta say, it feels like more than half of what we got with 2K20. Sure, the game is shallow, but it's fun for a few matches when you load it up. It's stable with very few crashes or glitches on launch day, and it's beyond unique. I'll take a shallow experience that's fun over a deep experience that's not any day. And that's what you get here. I got tired of playing after my first few hours, but I hopped back on after a night's rest and had fun for another few hours. Over the next year, this game will justify even the $50 purchase price. Remember, this game only needs to last a year before the next mainline 2K game comes out. And when you look at it through those lenses, it becomes easy to justify the price. I'd give this game a 6 out of 10. It's above average. Not a game I could sink 100 hours into, and probably one that will fall by the wayside when the absolute titans like Cyberpunk, Watch Dogs, and Spider-Man come out later this year. But for a $40 or $50 purchase price, it's an easy recommendation to anyone who enjoyed the original All-Stars game, is looking for a present for their kid just getting into wrestling, or has a few bucks extra from football gambling and wants a few nights of entertainment with friends. Thanks so much for watching this review. Subscribe for more wrestling content and our General Admission Wrestling Universe Mode series. We appreciate you.